your mother, Jessica, fell for hundreds of scams. I know that she's dead now, but you've set up a helpline or a help website for people in a similar situation. And alongside you, we also have Mike Haley, Director of Interventions for the National Fraud Authority. So welcome to you both. So Marilyn, what happened with your mum?
Well, what happened with my mother, she got targeted by mail scams when she was in her late 70s. She was suffering from age-related decline in mental health, though it hadn't been diagnosed, so we couldn't intervene. And as a result of this, she responded to a scam letter. Her name got put on what's called a suckers list. It got circulated to other criminals all over the world, and my mother was bombarded. She became trapped in a delusional world that scam mail creates. She had clairvoyants telling her that the family were against her. They told her they could see why she'd not won any money because her luck energy was so low. Bogus officials and solicitors told her that she was a VIP, she was important. And basically what they did, like I said, she was trapped in this delusional world. And because she wouldn't cooperate, we couldn't get power of attorney, we couldn't redirect the mail. We were absolutely powerless. There was no help available to me whatsoever.
How much did she lose? How much did she hand over?
It's difficult to say, but it could have been up to £50,000.
50,000?
Yeah, which, it sounds a lot, but we're now dealing with thousands of relatives of victims that are in the same position as me, cannot stop them from responding. We've got them, we've known 5 cases of suicide because of this. They've sold their houses, they're emptying their bank accounts. I mean, these are silent victims, and Think Jessica now is bringing these victims to the forefront. And we're working with the Metropolitan Police, who partner Think Jessica, Operation Sterling, and we're highlighting this problem.
Yeah. Well, Mike Haley, you're from the National Fraud Authority. How long has the National Fraud Authority been around and dealing with this?
Well, it's been around since 2008, and we've been dealing with this from the outset because this is one of the major types of fraud against individuals, against vulnerable people, which we think is very important for the whole law enforcement community to get together and attack.
Can they get away with defrauding an elderly woman out of £50,000 without that person's family being able to access any support at all?
Well, that was the situation maybe 18 months ago, but we've done a lot of work with people like Marilyn to actually give support to the victims' families, and we set up Action Fraud, which is a website and a call centre where victims can call, and friends and families of victims report the fraud, because it was a silent crime, and we're trying to make sure that don't be embarrassed about it. You know, actually make a report to the call centre.
But Marilyn, it sounds to me like part of the problem was that the victim didn't think that they were a victim of crime.
No,
your mum thought everything was fine and that she had lots of friends who were writing to and she had a good relationship. So what then can the police do if the victim isn't reporting it?
Well, what we do through the Think Jessica website, we have this kind of literature that is actually aimed at chronic victims. So relatives of victims can get in touch with us, and we've got the tools that they need. We've got the DVDs that we can send out. We've got the literature, and we're actually launching a national campaign with the Met Police, Operation Sterling, in June, the Silence of the Scams campaign. I'm going to highlight the plight of these chronic victims, get them to realise the mirroring.
We're also going to give out details in a moment for anybody who might want to forward details, because that's the thing that they want to start getting now, that any emails or letters that come in get forwarded, and we'll put that on the screen in a moment's time. But, I mean, it seems like it's an impossible task. I mean, for every criminal you take out of the system, surely there are many more online and in the real world who are just waiting to take their place. You're never going to win this, are you?
Well, I think we can win it, and I think that we can ask in the public to help us out, because today we're launching this email address where you can forward your emails the first time, and we're going to take action to try and sever the link between the fraudster and the victims.
We had one email this morning from a guy called Kenneth. He says he alone has got 1,400 scam emails to send you. I mean, how can you possibly get on top of those, let alone everybody else's?
Well, very many of these emails will be the same ones to lots of different people. So bringing them in the intelligence together, so that they're mass emailed out to everyone. So there's quite a small number of people who are actually behind all these. But what we're going to do is try and take down the email addresses, the response email address in particular, any websites they've set up, because that way you can't respond to them. And I think that really puts extra costs on them and makes it less profitable.
If you sign up for the mail or telephone preference service, does it make any difference?
not to scam mails. The mailing or telephone preference service is all about legitimate businesses who don't want to send you junk mail. But these are fraudsters who won't be in any self-regulatory environment. They will just keep on sending it. And that's why we need to disrupt them. That's why we're seizing mail. That's why we're asking people to forward the mail when they recognise it is scam mail, so we can actually take some real action.
Yeah. All right, Marilyn, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
And those details have been on your screen. We'll keep them there for a second longer. If you want to report a scam letter or an email or a phone call, you can call Action Fraud at the number 0300 123 2040. 0300 123 2040.
Go to their website as well, actionfraud.org.uk. Ignore what I just said. You're watching Breakfast, and we're with you until 10 o'clock.